Hi ladies, my name is Vicki and I'm going to be presenting Florals in Bloom with you. So what I've done is just laid out the papers here for you to take a peek at. I have already both the fronts and the backs being shown. This is all I have left of this piece because I used it on my layout. So it has the nice Secret Sea tranquil pattern. I feel like it's a little tranquil compared to the opposite side of the florals. And as you can see, these florals are a little bolder, but some of them are even bolder, but they're so pretty and a lot of the dies will match these papers and be able to cut them out. Especially this paper right here, all these little guys here. There's a die that will cut these straight out. These yellow flowers, the die cuts these yellow flowers out in the three sets. Okay, so this is the front and back of this paper here, which is the paper that I ended up using on my layout. I did a Mother's Day layout, so you'll be able to see that shortly. And then we have, I believe this is the Petunia Pop because that's the only color that's listed that would match. This is the front and this is the back. And then you have some Timid Tiger. And with the strawberry slush is on the back. So very, very versatile. I love this. I love that pattern. I really love this pattern. I love these flowers, I think, that has, again, the Petunia Pop and the Secret Sea. And then this is the back, which actually is great for any outdoor photos and stuff like that. It's very colorful and nice and green. And again, I've used most of this sheet on something, and we have the beautiful floral, and it's got the tranquil cloud cover striped paper in the back. So those are the actual papers that come in the kit. And then also you can find the Florals in Bloom on the catalog. It starts on page 41, and then as you can see here, it does come with two stamp sets and two die kits. Two stamp sets and two die sets, and then the in color flat pearls is what matches, and that's what the in colors are to go with this paper line. And these are the in color stamps. So we have the Secret Sea, we have the Timid Tiger, we have the Strawberry Slush, and we have the Darling Duckling. So I did do quite a bit of stamping, not necessarily on this layout, but on the layouts that I'll show you at the end. They were all stamped and cut from the die cuts. So these are the two wonderful stamp sets. So this is one, it's called Sweet Blooms, and these are all polymer. So as you can see, it's got the word lovely, let joy. It's a lovely day. You can put, it's got bloom, you make me smile. This little stamp set here represents, and you can recreate the very first paper. Where was that? Here it is. So you can see this is that same pattern so that you can stamp this on a solid cardstock, and you can do tone on tone and sort of make your own pattern that you want and be able to do a lot of different things with it. This is a beautiful stamp set that does a floral bouquet, and it's got the greenery that you can put with it, and you'll see that in my final layout also. And then they have the dies that go with this that cut out bloom and lovely, and then this is that bouquet that I was telling you about that cuts out, and then another little leaf. So you have the thin die cut and then the background die cut to layer for this one. So this is a really great set. And then you have Pretty Florals, which this is also one that you'll see in my later layout, where it's got the stamps that have the detail stamp and then the background stamp. So it's a two-layer stamping. Same thing with this little lovely floral that was in a lot of the different papers. You have the detail and the background, and then your stems that you can do too. So this actually has a fabulous die set that comes with this. So these two flowers are cut with this, so you get three flowers at the same time. The beautiful stamp, the stem set there. This goes with that leaf, or stem, I should say. Then it's got standalone leaves here and here, so it's got three standalone leaves, and it's got this standalone floral here, which this is the detail that lays on top of here. So again, very pretty, love it. And if you buy the suite, you get all four things, both stamp sets and both dies. All right. Okay, so now let's go on to the layout. All right, so we are to the layout now, and I'm sorry that I'm a little bit off camera, but I am inking my papers because I do like that it gives a little definition between each paper line, and I'm using the Secret Sea ink with a Ranger ink blending tool and foam pad. I find that I get a little more control with this and a more of a fine line, so it's not a heavy inking. Some people like to do a lot of heavy inking, and when I'm doing grunge work or grungier layout, I would do that, but with this, I just wanted a fine line. All right, so it is time to adhere my base papers. Well, actually, my papers to my base white willows. So as you can see, I am doing the inside first because those are the largest pieces. It makes it a little bit easier to attach and be able to line up the other pieces. So my big pieces of the Secret Sea, the one on the right is 9 3/4 by 12, and the one on the left is 1.5 by 12. And then got my T-ruler out so that I could line up the base cardstock there to make it a little bit easier to work from top to bottom after I do the center. And that cardstock is 6.5 by 10. I ended up adding that little bit of strip of Glimmer paper. I did try out a couple other different colors of the end colors. I tried out the peach pie and I tried out the pretty in pink, but it just wasn't giving me the look that I wanted. So I ended up going with that garden green to give it a little bit more of a pop in between the different papers, between the floral paper and the cardstock. So as you can see, I'm attaching that and basically just finishing attaching my designer papers. And then after this, we'll be moving on to do the embellishments. All right, so I'm going to start pulling my photos in and attaching those before we do the embellishments. So on that left-hand side, that is a 4x6 horizontal and a 4x4 square, obviously. And on the right side, I will be attaching a 4x6 portrait, a 4x6 horizontal, a 4x4 square, and a 3x4. On top of that 4x4 and 3x4, I will be adding some flip flaps. So as you can see, as I start attaching the photos, I do a little bit of adjustment on those bottom two photos because I have to leave room for that flip flap so that it's not covering the lower photos. Okay, so now that my photos are adhered, it's time to start doing my embellishment clusters. So as you can see, I try to do a little bit of a dry fit first so that I get my arrangements where I want them and according to the picture. So I try to do like a little bit of an L shape around the photo on the left just to give it a little bit more coverage. So the only thing I really pop dotted in each of the clusters was that big pink flower, and then the little yellow one that attaches half on it and half off of it, I will do a small pop dot on one side and glue on the other side. But when you're doing your clusters, you don't need a lot of glue. I do use that Barely Arts glue. I love it because it has a nice fine tip. Stampin' Up! Also has a nice fine tip glue bottle, but this is one that I've had already, so I'm trying to use it up first. And honestly, again, just the tips of the embellishments, and you can stick them under, and that will keep it down forever with the liquid glue. And a lot goes a long ways. All right, so now that I have the clusters done, we're going to start working on the title. The word bloom has been cut from the Sweet Blooms die set. The inner portion of it is with the Secret Sea cardstock, and then I use white as the background to give it a little bit of a pop. The small letters were cut with the mini alphabet dies. I love this set. It is a one and done kind of complete set. It has multiple letters of the same letter, like 2 A's, 2 H's, 2 L's. So the letters that you use the most, you can just do one cut and be able to do it. I was able to do this whole title with one cut, and then I just had one extra L that I had to put a small piece of paper in to give me my third L. Other than that, it was a one pass deal. So I was originally going to put a mother's love all on the top and then in full bloom on the bottom, but I just didn't like the way love was fitting in at the top, so I decided to change it and put a mother's at the top and then love in full bloom all together, and quite like how it turned out. No fancy way to do this. When the small letters like this, obviously I have to have my fine tip tweezers, and using my Barely Art glue, again, just a little goes a long ways, and just did it by eyesight, didn't even pull the ruler out, and was pretty happy with the results. Okay, so I just realized the whole time I did my little splatter technique, I didn't have the video going. So obviously it's already done on the page, so I can't recreate it on the page, but just wanted to show you how I did a nice fine splatter on top and bottom, maybe a couple little pieces on the side, and then just did it a little tiny bit over here and on the bottom. So the way I did that, and I'm going to just put this aside for right this second, is you just kind of squish the pad in here as much as you can. Sometimes it's pretty hard. And then you're going to open it, and then you're going to have a little ink spot on there. So what you want to do is just add a little bit of water. And the smaller the brush, the smaller the splatter will be. So you're gonna just mix that in with the water because you want it to be somewhat liquidy, okay? And then I typically just use my finger, and all I'm gonna do is splatter, splatter, splatter. Now you wanna do a little bit of a light splatter because you don't really want this line like that happen. You notice as I got softer, it got more generalized. And that's sort of really what you want it to look like, unless you want it heavy. Now, if you want it heavy, obviously you can get closer to the paper and you could use a bigger one, but you can actually make this pretty heavy by hitting it a little bit harder and putting more ink. And then as you see, you get a much more heavier splatter area. For my layout, I just wanted a thin layer and more spread out because I don't want it to overwhelm the layout. Just kind of wanted it to have a little bit of color. Okay. All right. So that was the splatter technique. Sorry about that I didn't get it the first time, but hopefully you got to see it this time now. And the one thing with the splatter is make sure that you don't have any on your surface to lay your layout down on, because that's the last thing you want is for all that to get in the wrong place. Alrighty. And the other thing I guess I didn't tape was the actual embellishments. So what I ended up using was the 2527 color flat pearls, and I ended up using the strawberry slush. As you can see, it's actually pretty nice because all 5 colors are in there together. So you have your strawberry slush, your darling duckling, your timid tagger, your cloud cover, and your secret sea. So I just did a few. I like to do things in 3s, which is why the embellishments are also in sets of 3, because you want to bring your eye across the page. So you want sort of like a diamond shape, or a triangle shape, I'm sorry, to kind of just bring it across. And that's why also it's good to, like I said, when you're doing your clusters, is to make sure that the same colors you use, you want to bring those across, because this cloud cover this is the only place I have it, and it's in each little cluster, embellishment cluster, so it does bring your eye across. Same thing with the yellow flowers, we'll do the same thing. Okay, so I hope you love my layout. Oh, I was also going to talk about the flip-flops. Okay, so flip-flops can actually be put directly on the page, and then you would just have to cut a little slit for the page protector for this little flip-flop to come in through, and then it would be on the outside but connected to your page. I tend to like to put it right directly on my layout, and I will make the slit because I do not scrap in chronological order, so that it's already attached to my layout when I get ready to put it into my album. I am going to be doing the journaling on the back, which is a nice way to be able to do journaling with, a hidden journal spot. So what I was going to show you is how to attach this flip flap. So the big thing is you just want to lift that photo up a little bit that I attached already. And then I just take the whole strip off. I'm going to fold it. And actually I'm going to tuck this. I like to tuck it underneath, but then don't press down. Well, maybe we're not going to do that. Hold on. There we go. I tuck it just a tiny bit. But then you want to line your photo up to this photo, and then you can press it down. No, it still didn't do it very nicely. Hold, please. Hopefully this isn't going to rip my paper. Oh, I know I'm in luck. Okay. So it's not wanting to lay exactly how I want it to lay, because I want it to be up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now, and then press it down. There we go. Got it. So then that way it's there, and then it's there. It's just got a little crooked on the bottom here, but I'm okay with that. This is going to be sitting outside the page protector, and this will be connected. And then you would do the same thing with this one. All right? Okay, so this is my layout. I hope you liked it. I didn't do a ton of technique. Basically, my technique that I was showing was how to build your clusters and to carry the color and the rule of 3, and then just did a little bit of the splatter technique for you. Okay, and obviously there's a lot of die cutting in here. There's a lot of stamping, 2-fold stamping. So that was just a way to be able to kind of show everything off and to utilize the stamp sets and the die cuts all at the same time. All right, so I'm going to put my layout aside. And the one thing I wanted to tell you too was the glitter paper that I used was actually from the Festive Glimmer paper. I don't think it's available anymore, unfortunately. They don't offer a lot of different colors in the glitter paper at a time. So when the Christmas glitter papers came out, because they had 2 different types of greens, I wanted to go ahead and get that, because you can use green and red throughout the whole year, not just at Christmas time. Alrighty, so the other 2 layouts that I have already pre-done and wanted to kind of show off to you were these beautiful layouts. And what I did was I duplicated the picture. There is a layout in the album, in the catalog on page 47. And you can see right here, it says, lovely day. And they put it in a frame. I haven't decided if I'm gonna frame mine or not, but my daughters had some beautiful Mother's Day photos done. So I went ahead and did layouts for both of them. So this is my oldest daughter with her two children, my grandchildren. And so this took quite a bit of time. All of these flowers are stamped, double stamped, because you have your design and then the pattern and then the design in the back. So these were all double stamped, die cut, and then I pop dotted a lot of them on here. And the same thing with the stems. These were all stamped and die cut. And this is one of the papers, the back side of one of the papers in the packet also. So as you can tell. And then the paper here that I did the frame on are these specialty papers. They are the flower garden foils, which is also part of this sweet collection that you could get with it. They show it in the catalog. So that is my oldest daughter, and I hope she loves it. And then my youngest daughter with her child, Lily, and did the same exact layout, except that they were mostly in the pinks and blues. So instead of doing the blue background, I just did, this is Pretty in Pink cardstock. And this is, I believe, the light side, because this is the new Stampin' Up, which has the dark and the light side. And so just love how these came out. Very excited to give them to them, and I hope you love them too. All right, and the last thing I wanted to highlight was the Heirloom Arrangements Kit. So this kit is amazing. When I got this, I was floored by all the, I can never say it, all the little pieces. And it gives you a lovely detailed directions, and these are just some of the cards. I did not do it the way they did. So what I did was I took all the pieces, all the bits and pieces, and I kind of put them in color arrangements and made my own cards. So I got quite a few. So as you can see, there's one, and then this is the stamp that comes with it that you can do. The envelope, this one I embossed and die cut and layered, and again, just brought in those colors together. Same thing here, I embossed the actual card paper and again brought in the greens and pinks. I decided to put all these butterflies together along with the yellow, and this is embossed with the butterfly embossing folder that we have. And here I actually took one of the die cuts and actually just made a design from the die cut, and again color coded and put all the pinks and added a couple of little yellow pieces just to bring in the yellow from the flowers. And here I made a sympathy card with the blues and just added a soft pink, and because this had a lot of black in it, added the black flowers with the sympathy, and I thought it was very elegant, but it went very nicely together. And here are some of the rust colors, or I think it's Cajun Craze basically, and I did do the Cajun Craze background and then stamped actually on this cardstock to give it a little more interest. And again, a die cut, giving it interest in the background. This was already on this background, and then the beautiful wishing with the butterfly. And some more die cuts from other kits, but again, just showing off how versatile the colors are. And these were the pinks and browns that I gathered and put together. Blue and green. This is from actually the green and gold Christmas paper from last year, which I believe is still actually in the catalog. And this is vellum, and the die cut cuts the vellum out. And again, just added that little greenery to pick up the greens in these florals. And this, because it had this beautiful piece in here, I ended up doing a card on, instead of white, actual cardstock that kind of brought out the color. And then the little die back here, which is one of my favorite dies. And here we go, is a blue. And this little die cut is from CTMH, a goodie but oldie. And then these were also part of Stampin' Up, the Christmas dies that, again, can be used for anything. And so I really had a fun time putting these together. And I hope it just gives you a little eye-opener to what you can do with the Heirloom Kit. It is on page 11. I believe it's on page, yep, if I can get to it, page 11. So as you can see, it doesn't look like much in the catalog, but in person, you can do so much with it, and it's got so many pieces that you can mix and match and do your own thing if you don't want to follow along. All right, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you got something out of this. I'm happy to be here and happy to share. So you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye.